Hey guys, welcome to Fun Factor. Doing a review of this 2008 535i, and the color on this is deep sea blue if I'm not mistaken. It does come rolled in with those chrome sport package wheels, which I actually kind of like on this car. It looks really good. I know some of them actually don't come with that. I've seen very few of these that actually come with these rims on it, but it does look really good. And he does have Continentals on them. I'm not sure if that's something that came initially with the car, but it is on there. LED tail lights. Does have the dual tip exhaust, as most of these cars do. You don't get the quad exhaust unless you go with the M5, unfortunately. But I do think this car is very nice, and I do like the color that is on it. If I'm not mistaken, it was an option through BMW, but I am not 100% sure on that. I have yet to see any other 535 in this color. Very clean interior. Very deep padded pockets in here, and it is lined with felt, which is really nice. Seats really hold you in. The interesting things about these seats is that when you actually come and you sit in them, it'll actually automatically shape towards your body, so you won't be slipping and sliding everywhere. That's actually really nice. These are adjustable up top, just for when you're on long road trips and you don't really want to have your neck just sliding around everywhere, I guess. Slipping on in the car here. Go ahead and start it up for you guys. It is push to start, so you just put your foot on the brake, have your key in the ignition, because this one actually doesn't have the keyless entry. That was an option. This car, you actually have to insert the key into that and then go ahead and put your foot on the brake and press the button to start. Starts up just fine. So turn on the AC because it is kind of hot out here. This car does have rather low miles for the year. I was pretty surprised to see that when you initially got the car. It does have heated seats. This actually right here is the traction control button. And it works in a weird way. If you push it, it'll only just disable stability control. If you want to disable traction control, you actually have to hold it, and then once you see that light, your traction control system and stability control are off, and you can have some fun with that. Otherwise, you'll have to figure that out, and it's kind of confusing because you wouldn't know that unless you kind of did some research into that. It does have dual zone climate control, so if I wanted it hot on one end or cool on the other, I'm able to do that, as well as with my passenger. So that is neat. Door locks are actually up in this corner right here. You just hit it once to lock, hit it once to unlock. Sound system in this car is actually pretty decent. I have heard cars with better sound systems. It doesn't have the premium audio, so I can't really say exactly what that sounds like. But it does have iDrive, and it is actually one of the pre-updated ones, so it doesn't come with all the fancy buttons to go ahead and get you to where you need to go. So it can be kind of annoying at times, and I know a lot of people complain about that. But you kind of get used to it. You'll have to be able to kind of navigate around a little bit and kind of figure out how this works. But all works pretty well on that end. AC works extremely well. It does have quite a lot of air if you need it. This kind of just slides in here, has a power outlet, but you can hide that if you need to. I think that's really cool. These are the parking sensors that the car actually comes with, which I think is really neat. These things are pretty good when you need them to get into those hard to park spaces, especially in town. It does have the 6-speed automatic transmission. It can be a little bit jerky in the morning, but otherwise it's been pretty good. I don't think he's had any issues or complaints about this transmission thus far, so that's good news, especially almost at 100,000 miles. The rest of the car is actually really luxurious. I know it doesn't have navigation. It actually doesn't have the navigation, but it does still come with the hump, unlike the E90. If you don't get the navigation, this actually won't be here in the E90s, like the 3 Series and 2008 models and such. That won't be there. In the E60s, such as this car, if you don't get the navigation, you get a slightly smaller screen. If you do, this will actually extend all the way out to here, so that's pretty neat. But yeah, that's just something that I had no idea until he actually explained that to me. I'm pretty sure he has a rear view dim mirror back here, so I think that's pretty cool. Just a little light up here, pretty good. Now, as far as comfort in this car goes on long road trips, I don't think anything really else can be beat in this car. It does have the sport package on this particular car. At least that's what I was told as far as this car goes. I know on the E36s, like I have back out here, on the E36s, if you have the sport model, you have a little M right here. So I'm not too sure about that. I'll have to do some research on that, but as far as I was told, it does have the sport package. It definitely rides like it does. So maybe it just has the premium package. Maybe that's what it is. I'm not too sure though. Backseat room on this car is phenomenal. It is really big and comfortable back here. As far as cup holders go, if I go ahead and take a seat back here, you do actually have a little slot that's down here. It's not very deep. I mean, it's there if you need it. I'm not sure what you would really put in there, but you can like drop your phone and stuff in here. You can do what he did right here and just put his sun cover back here. I'm not really sure how he reaches back here. It must be fantastic or something, but yeah, he has it back there. Now this is actually pretty cool. You can kind of just pull this rear back, and this is actually the only place where you'll actually receive any kind of arm comfort back here. Otherwise, you'll just have the padded armrest, which is pretty nice back here. They are a little bit hard, but I mean, it's not that bad. You are able to control your windows right here. They actually respond pretty quick, and this car does have the sunshade package, so that is pretty nice. You can kind of just drop that back here. I know on the E39s, like mine right there, if you have that particular package, it'll kind of rattle in the back whenever you're playing music kind of loud. I don't think this car has that issue, but we'll see as the miles progress, because I know these cars can get kind of squeaky, just a little bit. Now the interesting thing about this car, if you want to play music back here, and I'm not sure if it's just with like an option or what, but you would actually have to plug it in back here to play music up front. So that's kind of different to me. So if I wanted to, for instance, play music on my iPhone, I would have to reach back here, plug it in, reach it over, and connect it to my phone up there, which I think is kind of dangerous while you're driving. Say if you wanted to drive and you were trying to put this back here, it can lead to some crashing, and you definitely don't want that in this car. That's something that's interesting to me, which I kind of didn't like. So I don't know, maybe someone can kind of comment in below, see exactly what the reason for that was, because I'm kind of curious just to find out. The vents back here do work, and they do work pretty well. I'm able to actually feel the air hitting my face, so these do work really well. I do like that. I've never really seen cars that actually have this, other than maybe like Fords, but those are up top on the roof, and this car just kind of has these little lights that you can play around with here. And if I'm not mistaken, these are kind of speakers for the audio system that you can connect with your phone, so that's pretty interesting. Other than that, I think this car is very nice. It does come with BMW emblems all around, which I think is cool. My E36 doesn't get that at all, so that's nice. I know my E39 does, however. Trunk space on this car, I have to say, is phenomenal. It is amazing back here. I really do like how much trunk space this car has. Apologize about the wind noise if you're getting any on there. I am recording through my iPhone, so that is kind of something to look out for. On this, I know it's kind of plasticky around this, and the reason why is because on the E39s, there'd actually be a lot of rust that would happen here. As you can see, there's actually some gas in there now, so that would lead that would lead into rust if this actually wasn't all plastic. So that's actually a smart design from their point. Other end actually comes with the same. I know some cars are actually different in that aspect, with one side being different than the other. This car is actually the same on all ends, and it's very nice. Clear turn signals. It does have halo headlights, which I actually really like, and that actually came with the 535i. So I know if you get a 528, you actually don't get those unless you get a package with those. These BMWs can be packaged up to pretty much any specification what you want, but I've actually heard recently they're taking that away, so that's kind of something different. Now, getting back into the car, this car actually does have rain sensing windshield wipers, which I think is actually pretty cool. I haven't had an issue with them thus far, but they actually work very well, and you can of course control it over here if you need to as well. You can turn that off if you need to. If you just don't like it, you can just flip this switch here, and this actually turns it off right here. Now for this car, if anybody gets in a BMW and is like super confused, you can set it up to be 3 clicks per one pull. So you pull it down and it clicks 3 times. You pull it down even further than that and it clicks non-stop until you actually pull it down once more, and then it stops. So that was confusing to me when he first got this car, because my E36 is nothing like that. MPG gauge, just like your average BMW. Gauges actually haven't changed too much from the times that the E36 and this car were produced, which is about 10-year span. But I do still like the gauges. I think they're very nice. Very simple, very easy to read. This specific model, BMW, produces 300 horsepower and 300 pound-feet of torque. Now, I actually heard a rumor that that was actually to the wheels. So at the crank, this car would be pushing around 330 horsepower and 330 pound-feet of torque at the crank. So that would be the official numbers. Again, that's just something that I heard, but this car is really fast considering how much it weighs, and considering how much horsepower this thing pushes. It is extremely quick for 300 horsepower, and BMW is known to underrate their cars. So that's just a little bit about this 535i. Just want to kind of take you guys on a tour of it, see how it is, hear a little bit about the specifications, and kind of see what my thoughts are on it. I actually really like this car. As far as reliability goes, I know there are some other cars out there, but it is pretty reliable. It gets us from point A to point B. Haven't had any real issues with it. This car actually doesn't come with remote entry, if anybody was curious about that. You have to get an option for that, but that wasn't an option on this car. So if you're looking for a remote entry with this car, you would have to be sure to pay attention for that, because this car doesn't come with it, as well as a lot of BMWs. Even some of the M models, you have to be sure to really look into that. But let me know what you guys' thoughts are on this car in the comments down below, and I'll see you guys next video.